Hi, welcome to my channel, Organize with Joy. I'm Joy and I want to inspire you to get organized. In today's video, I wanted to share with you some reasons why it's so hard to let go of clothing and then give you some ideas of how to let them go. It can be a really overwhelming task to downsize our wardrobe, particularly if you're not in the habit of purging or going through your items frequently and getting rid of those items that no longer fit you or fit your style. But I want to give you some tips on how you can downsize. And one of the main things that I want you to take away from this video is it does not have to be an overwhelming task. I know a lot of people love Marie Kondo and her systems that she has in place for getting rid of things. And I know that one of the things she instructs you to do is to take everything out of your closet so that you can look at everything at once. But for some people, this is super overwhelming. So I suggest to people that if that doesn't work for you, that's okay. That is not what purging and downsizing your closet has to look like. You could set a timer for an allotted amount of time. It may be as small as 10 minutes. It may be an hour that you have to go through your closet and purge items. Another way that you can set parameters is to just go through one category of clothing at a time and pull all those out and assess what you have and figure out what you could get rid of. Another idea is to just work with one section of your closet, or perhaps choose one or two drawers to go through instead of being overwhelmed and trying to do everything at once. The first reason that it might be hard to get rid of clothing items is because you feel guilty about the money that you spent on those items. And I would say this is probably the number one reason people tend to hold on to clothes, because they feel guilty. Maybe it's an item that you thought would work on your body, but then when you got it home and paired it with some other items, you realized you don't like it as much as you did when you tried it on at the store. Or perhaps you just thought you would like something and then you just didn't wear it as much as you anticipated wearing it. Either way, this can be a huge deterrent in getting rid of clothing items. So I suggest to people that if the clothing items are in good condition, particularly if they are name brand items, that a great way to let go of clothing without the guilt is to sell those clothing items. And there's a variety of ways that you can do this. I have talked in the past on my channel about Poshmark. It's probably my favorite platform to use to sell and even buy clothing on. But I know that there are other apps that are similar. One that comes to mind is the Mercari app, and I think it's a similar sort of thing where you just choose your own price and sell your own items. If you don't have time to meticulously upload a picture of each of the items you want to sell, or you don't really want to manage that, another way that you could get some of your money back is to bring your clothing to a local consignment shop, or even an online consignment shop like ThredUp would also be a great option for you. That way they immediately get out of your house and you no longer have to deal with the tedious tasks of packaging them up, shipping them off, and all of that. Obviously, you're not going to get as much money for your clothing items this way, but it is a good option for people who feel overwhelmed, especially for people who are getting rid of large quantities of clothing and feel like it's just too much to manage all of those items in an app like Poshmark or Mercari. Lastly, if any of you have taken a basic economics course, I'm sure you've learned the idea of sunk cost. And basically that just means sometimes we make poor financial decisions And in my opinion, it's better to get those clothes out of our field of vision instead of continuously having to look at them in our closet, knowing that that was probably not the best decision and having to revisit that idea. But sometimes we just have to say it was a sunk cost, and hopefully you learned something from purchasing that clothing item, and moving forward, you'll make more intentional and better choices when purchasing clothing. The second reason we tend to hold onto clothing is because we think that we may either lose or gain weight and that we will fit in those clothing items at a later date. Some people hold on to, those jeans that are 2 sizes too small, almost as an incentive to lose those extra few pounds. Or perhaps you've had the opposite scenario where you've gone through a weight loss journey and it's hard to let go of those bigger clothing items because you're not sure you can maintain the weight. But I would suggest that holding on to these clothing items doesn't necessarily give you the incentive to lose weight. In my opinion, I feel like it can be discouraging to have those items just sitting there staring at you. I would say it's a better incentive to lose weight, to know that you might be able to purchase some new items that will fit you better. And so if you lose that weight sometime in the future, you'll be able to repurchase those items. And if you have gone through a weight loss journey and you have items that are too big for you that no longer fit you, I would think that it would be very cathartic to let those items go and to believe in yourself and know that you've made changes in your lifestyle, whether that's in your eating habits and or your exercise routines. And whether it's conscious or subconscious, it's you make that choice to stick with that program and that plan that got you to the place where you are, and believe in that and know that you can maintain this weight loss. Certainly there are some exceptions to this. Obviously, when you have a baby during your pregnancy and postpartum, you're going to be fluctuating sizes. So obviously that is a situation where it might be good to keep different sizes in your closet. The third reason we may be holding onto clothing items is because it is a sentimental item to us. And I know this can be a really tough category in general to declutter. I definitely agree with Marie Kondo here, where you set sentimental items aside and work on other decluttering projects first. Oftentimes when we work on the less difficult things to get rid of, it kind of gives us that momentum so that when we come to these sentimental items, it's easier to let go because we've kind of learned what it feels like to let go. We've learned what's important to us and what we're okay letting go of. If it truly is a sentimental item that you want to hold on to, I always encourage people to display items that are important to them instead of keeping them stored away in an attic or a basement in a storage box. Find a creative way to display those items so that you're seeing them regularly and enjoying them regularly. Whether that's maybe some school t-shirts that you could either make into a quilt or have made into a quilt if you're not that crafty, or perhaps it's a special jersey that you want to display in a shadow box. Whatever it might be, there are ways to display those items so that you can enjoy them regularly instead of just wondering if it's worth keeping just a box of t-shirts or a box of jerseys in the corner of your basement or attic. The fourth reason we tend to hold on to clothing is because we don't have the time or don't want to spend the time on decluttering. And I truly do understand this. This is why people hire me as a professional organizer, because they need help in efficiently going through their items, and having someone standing there holding them accountable helps keep the momentum going and helps them to continue on through that process. Honestly, in the end, it really comes down to what is important to you. And so if it is important for you to get your closet or your dresser under control, then you will choose to spend the time that way. If you are not bothered by an overflowing closet or an overflowing dresser, then that is totally fine. You can do you. But I would imagine if you're watching this video, then that means you are interested in finding ways that you can downsize your wardrobe. As I mentioned before, it doesn't have to be an all-day task. So if you don't have the time to take everything out of your closet and everything out of your dresser and purge that way, then know that you can set the parameters. You can set a time limit. You can set a space limit. Like, I'm just going to work on this one area. As I mentioned before, that is a great way to get momentum going. And oftentimes when we get that momentum going, we're eager and want to continue going through our items. The fifth reason we might hang on to clothing items is because it was a gift to us. I think it truly is a universal feeling to feel guilty getting rid of any sort of item that was given to us as a gift, whether you attach sentimental value to gifts given or not. I think we all kind of feel that twinge of guilt getting rid of something that was given to us. But the truth is, once an item is gifted to you, whether that's clothing or some other sort of item, that item belongs to you, which means that you can do with it what you would like. And I tell people that you can appreciate the gesture of the gift being given to you. You can appreciate that someone thought of you and thought you would love and enjoy this item, but I'm sure most friends and family wouldn't want you to feel guilty for getting rid of something that they had given to you, particularly if it is just taking up space in a dresser or in a closet, or especially if it's causing you stress in your life. I'm sure most people wouldn't want you to have to go through that. And honestly, if they would be upset for you getting rid of something they gave to you, that really is more an issue that is their problem and something they need to work through rather than something that you need to take on. The sixth reason we might continue to hold on to clothing is because we simply have the space for it in our closet or in our drawers. Perhaps your closet and drawers aren't overflowing, but yet there are still items in there that you no longer use or love. And to that I say, physical clutter can lead to mental clutter. So if every time you open your closet and you really only wear half the items, your brain is still having to process all the items when you open that closet door to try to decide what to wear that day. With less stuff, it's just less for your brain to process. And I know I personally have really been enjoying having some open spaces in my cabinets and drawers. For me personally, I know that one day when our children are grown, my husband and I will likely downsize and live in a smaller home. And I would rather go through and purge items over the course of time rather than being forced to do that in a transitionary time like downsizing. The seventh reason we may hold on to clothing is because we believe we want to have a lot of options. And to be honest, I do relate to this well. I have off and on over the last several years thought about transitioning my wardrobe to more of a capsule wardrobe, but I do like to have a lot of options myself. And so what I have found helpful is to kind of have somewhat of a uniform and then have variety within that uniform. And so it makes it easier to get dressed every day. A lot of my pieces are interchangeable, kind of like a capsule wardrobe. However, I just probably have more items than a capsule wardrobe would have. But some people think They want lots of different options and lots of different styles, and truthfully, I feel like having so many options can lead to decision fatigue, and over the course of a day, we have to make so many decisions, and having to really think through and find an outfit that works well for that day should not be one of those decisions that we make that should contribute to that decision fatigue. This may be the reason why people want to declutter their closets in the first place. They might not be able to put their finger on it, but ultimately they know that they have too many items and too many choices. But by using some of the techniques that I mentioned earlier in this video, you really can pare down your wardrobe, making it really easy to get dressed every single day. Well, I hope this video gave you some motivation or some inspiration to reassess what your wardrobe looks like, and maybe declutter some of your items. And if you're interested, I actually have all of this information compiled in a blog post over on my website, and so I will be sure to link that in the description box below. Well, thank you for watching my video today. I always appreciate when you watch until the very end, so if you've gotten this far in the video, I would love for you to drop me a fun emoji in the comments below so I know you saw this whole video. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing. Thanks! Have a great day. Bye! If you are not bothered by overflowing closet and dresser, then, and truthfully, I feel like it's wasted decision-making time. No. They know that they have too many items, and well, thank you for watching my video today. I always appreciate